As one of the top universities in the nation, Case Western Reserve
Hi, everybody. Nicole, would you like to stand up for a second? I'll introduce you. This is Nicole. Not only does she work for Assembly and Monty, she's a former student at CSUMB. So welcome back. I hope you all are enjoying your time with us. If the nature of the conversations yesterday was any indication, passion alone were a way of solving this problem. We would have solved it long ago. So this morning we're going to talk about broadband coverage. Specifically, we're going to listen to Lev Gonick, and I think many of the folks in the room know Lev or have met him. He is the former CIO here at CSUMB and hired me back when I was a doctoral student. Arlene and I started about the same time, and we're both brought in by Lev. So we have fond attachments. So with that, we have a video about Lev's project in Cleveland. If you haven't heard about this one, their effort is to bring gig to every home in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's fine. Are you going to break down the main two videos?
As one of the top universities in the nation, Case Western Reserve University has a history of improving lives through research, education, and engagement with the community. In May 2010, Case Western Reserve lit up the nation's first gigabit fiber to the home network in preparation for connecting underserved neighborhoods of Cleveland as part of the university's program. Welcome to Hessler Road, a culturally rich neighborhood near the Case Western Reserve campus in Cleveland. It's one of the coldest winters in Cleveland history, but Pat and Peter Holland are staying warm in their Hessler Street home with the help of this new energy management technology. With the click of a mouse, the Hollands can see how their energy use compares with their next-door neighbors and what they can do to reduce their own consumption. The next step, moving energy management across the grid. Faculty at Case Western Reserve are teaming up with the power company to use smart home data to test solutions to the region's power grid. Safety is high priority on Hessler Street. Working with the Case Connection Zone, their neighborhood watch is taking on a whole new meaning. Partnering with Rad Vision, neighbors are able to keep an eye on each other's homes without leaving the safety and comfort of their own homes, using their computers to monitor security cameras on the gigabit network. Over time, this innovative pilot project will be integrated with local police departments. An ongoing problem in urban neighborhoods is access to health care, and the Case Connection Zone is tackling it with technology. This resident can monitor her diabetes and check in with her doctor without worrying about transportation. And she can keep track of all her vitals through electronic home health records she shares with her doctor. Students have their very own health needs. Depression and anxiety are serious issues on college campuses. Working with the Case Connection Zone, students can now consult with college counselors over HD video conferencing. It's private, more intimate, and more accessible. Opportunities for improving access are endless. The Case Connection Zone can offer health and wellness activities to all demographics, including seniors and housebound patients. Leveraging gigabit broadband for the next generation. It's the driving force behind the Case Connection Zone. Collaborating with Surgical Theater, we're demonstrating next-generation surgical simulation for both medical education and remote consultations for patients. The bandwidth for networked surgical theater with real patient data is approaching the lightning speed of 1 gigabit a second. Finally, the Case Connection Zone is focusing on improving education. Faculty and students at Case Western Reserve University can interact in real time using gigabit bandwidth for multiple concurrent HD video streams. This cutting-edge technology is a platform for classes, community meetings, and support groups where each of the participants is in their own home. Connecting America through the promise and power of access to vital health services and education. Leveraging advanced information technology to improve people's lives and Startup America.
once he sees Lev up, she's gonna introduce him.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Lev?
I sure can.
Hi, Lev.
Are we ready? CSUMB.
Yes, we are. Welcome.
Thank you, and thanks so much for the invitation to join you here, if only remotely. I very much look forward to your feedback and hope, if nothing else, I can be provocative this morning in thinking about the relationship between universities and the communities in which we live, work, and play. I want to frame the morning conversation in terms of a classic town-gown dilemma. Obviously, for most of us, in one way, shape, or form, who live in the university community, we have a sense of tradition, of gown, and one of the most significant challenges is that while we think of ourselves in many ways as being fully integrated into the community around us, more typically the community around us see us as a variation on a moat-surrounded environment that's both impenetrable and in various ways, shapes, and forms. The challenge has been over the years to figure out how to take a tradition that began rather deliberately to be exclusionary, elitist, disengaged, in a completely different time and place, and try to figure out how to overcome that town gown challenge. In many parts of the country, including yours and mine, the condition of our cities is significantly being impacted. Here in Cleveland, unemployment now exceeds, in the city of Cleveland, 1 in 5 people, 20%. 1 in 3 African American women in the city of Cleveland have type 2 diabetes. There is an epidemic of a decaying community around us, and of course, some of it has to do with employment, some of it has to do with health and wellness, and the challenge is how to figure out, from my perspective, how to deliberately and explicitly move from the inherited realities of a detached and isolated, exclusionary university community and begin to attend in a very deliberate way to the deteriorating infrastructure of the cities around us, whether it's through economic neglect, whether it's because of tsunamis, whether it's because of war, whether it's because of simply ongoing unemployment and foreclosure crises. Universities have, in many ways, found ways not to engage in a project that you've seen a little bit of in the video, and what I want to talk about this morning is really an effort to figure out how the university community, with its community partners, can leverage next generation infrastructure to really begin to address both the research of a great university and, rather than or, priorities of the community around us. And so the Case Connection Zone, which you saw a little bit of in the video clip, really is a collaboration of many, many community partners, other education partners, government agencies, healthcare organizations, museums, libraries, and other social service agencies, all brought under a big tent to focus in on how to leverage next generation technology to address community priorities in 4 specific areas, which I'll be talking about this morning: health and wellness, education, energy management, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math education. The story itself is part of a longer journey, which some of the audience will know about. For the last 7 years, Case Western Reserve University has been engaged in creating a broader community capacity for broadband build-out. We call it One Community, an effort to become essentially in our own driver's seat as it relates to the build-out of our infrastructure for the 21st century, to be able to be part of our future by deliberately planning the infrastructure for the future economy, education, and our general social well-being here. I want to ever so briefly give those of you in the audience who are not familiar with the One Community story a little bit of context. The overall goal is really to be creating a collaborative framework for addressing community priorities and And in our case, really over the last 7 years, attending not only to the needs of our immediate community around University Circle, but also to the broad geography around us, an area that basically is today 27 counties, which basically takes us from San Jose down to Big Sur in terms of at least from top to bottom, if you will, in terms of geography. In that infrastructure, we have built out, as I'll be sharing with you, more than 1,500. Now we've been told those 1,500 points are actually called public sector middle mile anchor institutions. They were just partners when we called them that. Those of you involved in the BTOP environment know that we've now got nomenclature for talking about those efforts. We now have a series of virtual networks that runs over this common infrastructure, attending to public services, health and wellness, education, and a lot of wireless connectivity in each of the metropolitan areas, as well as large aggregation points. This, for what it's worth, is the 22-county area that we're working on. I mentioned BTOP. Before BTOP, one community looks like what you see on my left, and we are currently shovel engaged with build out to what will cover literally the full 1/3 of the state of Ohio in terms of, again, these public anchor institution activities. Again, today, before we've actually gotten into BTOP, we have over 1,500 sites. We've got about $120 million worth of investment. We are attending to not only the urban areas, city of Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Lorain, Youngstown, and the like, but also the rural communities around us through investments, attending to the same logic of making sure that our rural communities remain sustainable and are connected in appropriate ways to health services, government services, and the like. Everywhere that we have a core anchor institution, we have layered wireless infrastructure. This is the wireless overlay of the area around the University Circle, about 6 square miles. In Akron, as about 12 square mile infrastructure, and so forth, wherever we have anchor institutions, subject to the interest of that anchor institution and the neighbors around, we have propagated wireless infrastructure. Which brings us really to the story of the Case Connection Zone, the goal of which is just to correct Chip a little bit, while maybe in my dreams, the idea of connecting every household in Cleveland right now, slightly less ambitiously, is really to connect the homes around University Circle, about 5,000, and really focusing in on these 4 core areas, of which I proposed this morning very briefly, to share with you some of the use cases that drove our engagement by a form of essentially appreciative inquiry, listening to what the neighbors and the institutional partners around the university were interested in, and then mapping those specifically to research and teachable moments here at the university. The beta block, which was referenced in the video clip, really today has, as you see here, spec 100 homes with fully